All right, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I have a very interesting topic today, and I was gonna make two separate videos on this topic, but I figured I would, just consolidate both of them into one video because they kind of go hand in hand, and yeah, I just think this whole topic is very interesting, but there's been a rumor going around that Halo Infinite might potentially get delayed into 2022, which is very interesting. And the reason why, according to an insider, it could be because of the fact that they're having issues trying to build the game based around the old Xbox One hardware. So there are talks of trying to drop the Xbox One support to be able to build the game exclusively on the next generation hardware. And that's very interesting, man, because, we've had so many different conversations in regards to how Microsoft is choosing to go into next generation, supporting all of their hardware and all of this stuff, right? And there have been so many people kind of like, I don't know, going up to bat for Microsoft and telling everybody, trying to convince everybody that whatever Microsoft is trying to do, supporting their hardware, man, is just the way to go. And it's just, I think everything that's kind of like going on right now, and if this rumor is true, just further proves what we've been talking about, man, about how this whole scalability and going into a new generation, trying to support old hardware, designing your games around that old hardware. Yeah, man. But anyway, I have a quote here from a man by the name of Sponger. It was a post that was made on Reset Era. I'm gonna go ahead and read it now. Quote: I was considering a lot to post it or not, but after a few consultations with few different sources, I'll put it. Microsoft/343 Industries is currently very busy with idea of dropping Xbox One support for Halo Infinite. Even idea to postpone it into early 2022 is on the table. It's pretty messy up there with decisions, but they are convinced that they need to make best Halo game ever. And he goes on to say, current version of Halo Infinite on Xbox One S is nowhere near 1080p, even lower than 900p, and is having serious asset loading issues, much worse than what we've seen on the PC demo. Ideas to change at the engine level how assets load, make ray tracing as default, improve, unlock some assets, improve geometry, post-processing, and add more CPU-bound interactivity. So, this is very interesting because, like I said, man, this just further proves what we've been talking about, man. Especially being that there's been so much kind of like flack and so many people kind of like coming at Sony with what they're doing with their next generation hardware, of going into the hardware, leaving the old hardware behind, right? With the PS4, leaving support for the PS4, building their games around that new hardware, right? And this whole thing about the controller not being able to, like the PS4 controller not being able to play PlayStation 5 games. I mean, just everything that they're doing, is to go into a new generation and build pretty much everything around this new hardware and this new experience that they're trying to have people, experience or whatever, right? So I just find it interesting, man, that we have this information that Halo Infinite could potentially be delayed into 2022 because of the fact that they're having major issues designing the game for the old hardware or getting it to run on the old hardware, and like I said, man, I think this just further proves what we've been saying this whole time, man, about how going into a new generation, trying to support old technology, which I believe in this case the lowest common denominator is, I believe, the Xbox One vanilla. It could be the S, I'm not exactly sure, but I even have another quote here, man, which further solidifies what we've been talking about this whole time, from Ryan McCaffery, IGN. He said, I was wrong to drink. The current gen won't hold next gen back Kool-Aid. I've talked to enough people now. It might make sense for some games, but not AAA. System seller kinds of big budget productions. Cut bait on old hardware. I want to see what the new stuff can do. It sounded good on paper, but not in the real world. Look, man, it literally can't be any more cut and dry than that, man. You know? And see, there have been so many people saying that the old hardware won't hold back the new hardware because of scalability and how it's specifically designed to scale up and down old and new hardware and across all platforms and all of this stuff, right? And this is just further proof of the fact that that is not the case, you know? And just further proof that what Sony's doing with the PlayStation 5 and going into a new generation, leaving the old hardware behind. Not saying that they're not going to support the like PlayStation 4 in terms of like releasing games for it and stuff like that, but in terms of going into a new generation and building their games around that new hardware, you know, it's just the way to go, man. And I feel like even when we saw the Halo Infinite gameplay back on the 23rd, I think that was proof enough back then, man. But you know, people are stubborn, and there's just been massive amounts of damage control, man. Just to kind of like deter away from the fact that what Microsoft is doing with this whole cross-generation thing and this kumbaya and having everybody kind of like, you know, go into the next generation like all together and don't leave anyone behind is just not the way to go, man. You know, especially when you're trying to push something as, I won't say it's new, but something as you know, early as Game Pass and this whole thing with xCloud and whatnot. I mean, you have to have a big flagship game to push something like that. And if your flagship game, which is Halo, looks the way that it did, considering the fact that your advertising going into a new generation looks the way that it does, you know, that's just not going to work, man. For all of those people out there who are talking anti-consumer this and anti-consumer that or whatever and all the crap, you know, all of the crap that people have been giving Sony or whatever, I want to see you guys keep that same energy, man. You know, is what Microsoft, like, is what they're doing anti-consumer now, the fact that they're dropping the Xbox One version of Halo, you know, and this whole thing about bringing everybody into a new generation. Look, man, let's just stop the bullcrap, man. I want to see you guys keep that same energy and whatever, man. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, guys. Not really much else for me to say outside of that. Just make sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.